right, welcome. It is November 13th, and this is Appy Hour with Irma Santoro. We're going to learn about question formulation using Padlet. And if we have time, maybe some Adobe Sparks. We're going to be a little bit shorter with this Appy Hour. We have a called meeting at 3:30, some of us. So we're going to get to this material quickly if we can. So Irma, off to you.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for attending. I wanted to know how many of you have ever used Padlet before or even know what it is? You could raise your hand or, okay.
I may have used it once or twice as a participant, but not as somebody putting it together myself.
Okay, perfect. All right, super. All right, so what I'm going to focus on today is using Padlet and also on a technique that I've learned about a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago, called the question formulation technique, which I gave a presentation on already last year, just before we all went into quarantine, just before, while the pandemic was starting. So I'm not going to focus on that today, but you're going to use that experience in order to get the experiential view of Padlet. I'm also going to try to show you how Padlet works and what it is. So I really was introduced to Padlet because it's a great way to link material and to collaborate with others. So easy that it's unbelievable how easy it is. And it's a free site that you can go to and use. So I'm going to share my screen so I can really show you what Padlet is and then show you how to use it. All right. All right. So if we look here, this is Padlet here, everything that you need to know and nothing you don't. So the neat thing about Padlet is it's just so awesome for collaboration. It's free. You can log in for free and have access to this immediately. The link can be shared with you for you to collaborate with others on. And it's just a great way to put many different things together. And I'll explain to you all the different types of walls or places where you can put things so that students can have access and collaborate on. It's super universal, as they say, and it's a great place to put all kinds of different multimedia. So you can use it for discussion posts, but then you can also immediately embed videos, pictures, photographs, whatever it is you want, graphs, Excel spreadsheets. It will allow you to pretty much put anything in there. So it's really great. So if you all get a chance, go ahead and go to padlet.com. I'm showing you the features right now, but I'm going to go ahead and let you go ahead and do a login. And you can log in for free. I used my Reinhardt credentials to log in, but if you wanted to log in with something else, let's say you weren't using it for education purposes, you easily could have your own Padlet for personal things as well. So if you want to go ahead in there and just log in, which is what I'm going to do. And you're going to get into a site that looks like this to make a Padlet. And so you probably have to go in and sign up for an account. I'm sorry, I missed that piece. Sign up for an account, and it's a free account, and then you can log in. Okay, so give everybody a chance to do that. The neat thing about this is you can either make your own Padlet, or you can join a Padlet, or you can even look at the gallery. Okay, and then you can, of course, as always with any free account, there are upgrade options that you can choose. And I've only been using the free account, so I'm not sure all the different bells and whistles with the upgrade, but I'm pretty happy with the free account. All right, so hopefully everybody got a chance to get in there. And I'm going to actually let you join my Padlet in a minute so you can use it from the user's end as well. Okay, so I'm going to go to my recents, and but no, first I want to go into make a Padlet, show you how to do it. So when we think about all the different things that you can do with Padlet, it's quite amazing. So my original Padlet that I made was a wall. But you can also do a sort of canvas where you send students through a particular guided pathway. The other thing that I found really interesting was the timeline. Okay, so let me see if I can minimize this. So if we go to the timeline and hit the preview, It kind of gives you an idea of what you can do with a timeline, and I'll show you something that I did with it in a minute. But the other thing that I found really helpful for educators is, I don't know how familiar you all are with the KWL procedure, where we ask students to write down what they know, what they want to know, and what they've learned. And I use this a lot with case studies. And I found that organizing this using Padlet for students to collaboratively work together, either in the classroom or even outside of the classroom if we're doing something online, a way for students to work through a case study and identify, when they read parts of this case study, what they know, what they want to know, and what they have learned in the end. All right, and then finally, like I said, I pretty much have used just the wall, and I'm starting to work a little bit with the timeline. There's also a map function. This I could see maybe very nice for history or even other fields where you can actually use the map and develop a Padlet doing that as well. So many of these are new, newer than when I started using Padlet. But they keep adding more and new ideas. So I would definitely recommend going and playing with it. I'm not sure why it's not letting me go back. Okay. I am going to stop sharing my screen for a minute and open up something else because it's stuck, which I've seen sometimes happens. And I'm not sure why. It wasn't doing that earlier today. Okay. Back to share my screen. Okay. So this is the page you should get again when you originally sign in and have an account. And you'll notice it includes your recent Padlets, and you also have an archive folder, and then you can also develop folders, but that is a paid subscription account to do different folders, and I'm fine with what I have. So the first Padlet I had made, well, not the first one, but one that I use often is using Padlet doing the question formulation technique. And the question formulation technique is actually a technique that is used to ask students to develop better questions. One thing that I found often, especially as a science educator, was that students didn't have really good practice in developing great questions to be able to critically analyze whatever it is they were analyzing, research papers or a study or analysis or whatever that might be. And I came across this technique and learned how to use it and found it to be very just amazing and wonderful, because it allows students that practice that they need in order to develop better questions. And one thing that I found is that I can ask students questions, and that's, we're used to doing that as educators. But if you can get the students to ask their own questions and then they go and then answer those questions, they're much more engaged in the experience of learning when they're able to ask their own questions. So I thought that I would, I do this technique in my classroom when I see my students face to face, but now that I'm teaching hybrid, I only meet them once a week. And so I've developed different questions for them to work on online. And I realized that this Padlet is one of the best ways to probably do that for them online. And so what I did with the Padlet was, it's so easy to start a new one. And we can go ahead and do that. But I just want to show you one that's finished, then go ahead and start a new one. And then maybe if we'll have time, I'll let you play with the question formulation technique a little. But here's one of the Padlets I developed. I put in an Adobe Sparks video. I found that it was very helpful if you're teaching online to provide a video of instruction to students before they actually start any new procedure. And so this is, I wish I had time to go through this today, but I don't have time. But it's a really easy way to develop a very quick video online without any special video software. And you just go to adobespark.com. You can sign up for a free account and you can start producing a video right away. And I produced this video. The neat thing I said about Padlet is you can pretty much put in anything you want into your Padlet. So I might just start this video for a minute. And it plays right inside of your Padlet, okay? And you can also zoom it into a new window or whatever you want to do. I'm going to go ahead and stop that for now. Okay, so what I do with the question formulation technique is, first thing you want to do is you have to review the rules for asking questions and using this technique. And so I put that in there as step one, and in the video I'll explain to students how to go through the different steps. So if you actually want to add anything in here, let's say you want to edit this piece that you've already started, you can just click the little edit little toggle button. I forget what those are called all the time. And you can actually share or embed or remake things. Or you can actually, and then also you have this little cog switch here, which is where you allow to change your title, your description, your icon. You can, if you want to copy your clipboard or your Padlet to any place else, let's say share it on Canvas. I have an individual, you can use the link they provide or make your own. I made my own. There's all kinds of different wallpaper ideas. You can choose different color schemes. There's several different fonts. You can allow students to comment or not. I typically do because I use this as a way, as a discussion post and for commenting. You can allow students to like, but you can also do things such as vote, which is helpful, or give things stars, or even grade. And you can have students grade individual posts, which I find very helpful. And then, of course, you can also filter profanity. Is usually a very good idea if you're doing something online. All right, so it gives you all these opportunities to do that. And what's neat about it is you can go on and click anywhere in here, and you can add to a post, right? So let's say if you want to ask students to review the course syllabus and let's say tell you something about it or whatever, the students can just add comment. All right, and it's as simple as that. So you can add comments to any of these items that you have on here. And I'm taking students through a process of day one, what they're going to do, which I explained in my video, and then day two, what they're going to do, which I explained in my video. Okay, I'm going to go back and let's go ahead and make a new Padlet. And if you all have signed in, you could try to make a Padlet as well. And I'm going to go ahead and select something new that I haven't tried before. I don't know. I think I'll just still select the wall simply because it's probably one of the simplest ones to do. And of course, you can add a title. Call it Padlet presentation. And I'm just going to keep it there. You can add an icon if you want. There's all kinds of icons. I mentioned that you can copy to the clipboard. You can make your own copy code. So I'm just going to call this Irma. You can select different wallpapers. This is where it's amazing. So you can select all kinds of different colors, different solid colors, gradients, textures, and even pictures. So this is fun. You can go through and there's some things for the holidays, a map feature if you want to do that, just all kinds of options. And these are all available for free. If you pay for the paid subscription, I believe you get more. And then you can also use your own. And you can also add your own wallpaper. So if there's a video background you want to use, these are all possible. Okay, so that's your wallpaper. That would be the background, right? And then, of course, you can do, where do you want your new post to appear? You can do first or last. And then if you want people to be able to comment, give any kind of reactions, maybe to vote. And then if you want to moderate it, you could do moderator approval required, and then I usually turn on the profanity filter. All right, so I'm going to hit next. So what's so cool about this, right? So when you click on here, anywhere, trying to close it, you can hit the plus button and you can insert anything that you want. If you click the little toggle to the right, you can insert a link. You can insert Google pages, anything from Google, any photos that you have, any film that you have in your camera, voice recordings with your microphone, a screen. If you want to record your screen, you can draw on the screen canvas. You can add your location. And the other really cool thing about this, you can add to another Padlet that you've already produced or put together. So I find this really amazing and has been really helpful because it's one way where you can add so many different things and very, very easily. So for example, in the last Padlet I showed you, I added that Adobe Sparks video. I had produced the video already, saved it. I actually didn't even save it on my hard drive. I saved it at Adobe Sparks site, got the link, and then introduced the link and embedded that right into the Padlet. And it worked really well. So these are all options. And of course, you could always just put in information and give it a title. All right. So hopefully you've had a chance to play around a little bit. I'm going to go back to another one of my Padlets and show you something that I just did as the timeline. Are there any questions so far? Okay.
I did want to comment. I know from my experience with Padlet, I think you get up to 10 free Padlets.
Yes.
And then after that, you have to go premium. But if you delete them, then it keeps you under that 10 limit.
There is a limit to the free Padlets. I tend to reuse my Padlets a lot because once I set them up the way I like it, I will reuse it.
Yep.
And I'm setting up a KWL one right now for my next case study that we'll be doing next week in class.
Awesome.
So let me go back to Padlet. And so I have this test space that I open up and I often will use. This is a test space that I've been using for developing linear types of assignments and to allow students to follow different directions and to be able to communicate or at least have a discussion post back and forth on what they felt about either a video they watch or a podcast they listen to or whatever that is. So the next one I'm going to have students do as part of an assignment, one of their last assignments for me, is they're going to be listening to a Radio Lab podcast. And I linked the podcast directly in here so they could listen to it right from here. And then I'm going to be putting in different discussion prompts on here for them to respond to. And I'm going to ask them to respond using different figures rather than just to respond using different figures rather than just using text. Because this is actually a quite sensitive podcast and learning how sex is determined and sex determination and realizing how complex it really is. It's not just due to X and Y. So, so that's a podcast that I've been working on, or a Padlet I've been working on. And the other one that I have well established is the expectations and preparation for an online learner, which is the last time that I used the question formulation technique online and not within the classroom. Okay, so a lot of times I do this in the classroom itself and the students are in class and developing questions on their own. But this is a way that you can do this online. So I'm going to share this Padlet with you. We have a couple minutes left. And I'm going to put it in the, let's see. No, that's not the great way to do this. Oh, close the share. I got to remember how to share it. Ah, there we go. Nope. Copy to clipboard. So I'm going to put it in the notes. I'm struggling getting to the notes when I'm sharing screen. Huh. Wow. I've never. I'm putting it in the chat, but it wasn't letting me get to the chat when I was sharing screen. So I'm going to go ahead and share this. Let's see if you were able to get in.
Yes, I was able to get in.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so the first thing I want you to do is I'm not going to worry about you revealing the rules for asking questions, but what I want you to think about is what's the preparation required for online learning? And so based on that prompt, I want you to start thinking about as many questions you can think of, start posting as many questions you can think of. You can double click anywhere on the page to post a question. So you double click anywhere on the actual background here. And in the title screen section, type your question exactly as it first comes to mind, and then in the write something section, type your first and last initial. When finished, click again anywhere on this web page to post another question. Okay. And typically, when I do something like this online, I'll give students 24 hours to keep asking questions. So you can double click anywhere, see, and you can see already there are questions, right? Somebody put D. And you can actually move these around, which is really cool. So I can reorder them, move them wherever I want. That's what I'm doing now. It makes it very, very interactive. All right, and the next part of this is how to improve your questions. Okay, so let's say we've gone through our time limit for asking questions, and I ask students to find at least one question to label yellow if it's a closed-ended question. And a closed-ended question is basically any question that you can answer with yes or no or with one word. And then I ask students to label green any open-ended questions. And then those, of course, are those questions that you need more than just yes or no or one word to answer. Okay. So go ahead and because you can highlight, you can label these green. I can't remember how to do green and red. Well, you can definitely write green and red. So that might be red. Or it was yellow, wasn't it? This one. Ah, you guys all figured it out. Aha, I knew you would. All right. So we have some green and some yellow, right? All right. So then the next step is to go ahead and think about how to change one of these questions. Okay, so you could consider changing one of these questions, and typically I ask students to take the closed-ended questions and try to make it open. Okay. And let's see, we've got, so we should end up with a few more green questions. The other neat thing about this is I have also examples where students have, instead of written out the questions, they've used audio or video to include that material. So here's an example of a 13-second one where students actually stated their question. Okay, so once we do that, the next step is to prioritize the questions. So what I would do if I did this online is if we had over 24 hours to answer the questions and change the questions and to give students time to prioritize them. And then they would go through and pick the 3 questions that you feel most curious about that would really help you learn the most about online learning. And then finally, after that, to allow them to do further investigation about online learning and answer those actual questions using that further investigation. So again, they're answering the questions that they produced, and in the end to reflect. And I asked to go to a Canvas assignment where I have a reflection Canvas assignment and ask them to reflect on what they learned, how they did it, and what new they're wondering about now. So that's basically a very quick lesson through the question formulation technique using Padlet as a tool to do that. And again, of course, Padlet can be used for so many things. And it's just a very easy way to include content right away, allow students to use different multimedia ways to respond to a discussion post or a question or a prompt. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I'm at 3:29, and I was hoping to give you more time to address a question. So I have about a minute left before I have to go to another meeting. But if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. You can email me. I could share, some more Padlet with you, or just tell me how you're using it, because I think it'd be really fun to pull together ideas of how everyone's using some of these resources.
Thank you. That was awesome, Irma. I've used mine for a virtual field trip before I can tell you more about my experience with it.
Yeah, that would be really great. That would be fun. I like that idea.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. It's really interesting. I think it would be a great supplemental tool. Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Irma. We both have a meeting we have to run away and grab real quick. Thank you all for attending. Be sure to stick around 4 o'clock. James is going to be telling us about Perusall, and I'm really excited about this presentation. I've read a lot about this app, but I've never seen it in practice, so I can't wait to see what happens there. So thank you, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you at 4.